What's up, everyone? I am Bobby Jarel.
And I'm Mathea. And this is No Filter. What's
Welcome
up, guys?
So, we've been on a little hiatus. It's been over a year, right? Like
almost. Pretty?
I think it's been over a year.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
December.
Was it December the last one we did? Oh, so yeah, well, a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. Well, hello, 2022.
2022. Wow. So look, but no, like I think over the last couple of year or so now, you know, with school and everything, I just needed time to focus on that. But there was a couple of times I was looking back and I was like, dang, we did a lot of episodes. I didn't realize we did that many.
We did.
Like, it was a lot. It was cool.
And a lot of good information too. So, but we're back.
Yeah, season 2 of No Filter.
So, congratulations are in order. Like, I've told you off camera, but you are the epitome of continuing to strive.
Oh.
So, congratulations. Y'all give him a round of applause because he just got his master's. Did you get your master's in? Let the people know.
So, my master's is a Master's of Arts in Special Education, but it's a focus in applied behavior analysis. So, like, you know, I work with kids with autism doing ABA, but ABA is also, it's a applied science. And it's something that can be applied to our everyday lives. And so, like, right now, beginning to build my life coaching business, and I'm also using ABA principles with life coaching. Okay. So that's something, you know, we can talk about later on another episode, but that's what I'm doing.
Yes, yeah, I'm so happy for him. I'm so excited. You got me trying to go back to school.
This is my thing. You know, for me, when I was younger, going to school wasn't something that I saw for myself. And as I got older, I got into the field doing ABA and things like that. Then I kind of got that passion, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I'm not that. At times, I felt like I wasn't smart enough, but then it was like, okay, I realized I had dyslexia. So that was part of my issue with learning. And so, like, once I learned to I guess conquer that and get past it and learn different ways to educate myself and I guess because you know a lot of times when you have a disability you think, okay, I can't do certain things, but it's like you can do it, you just have to teach yourself a different way to do things, and that's something I had to overcome. Because with going into a grad school, I was like, I know that this was going to be a lot of reading, and that's something that I absolutely hate reading because dyslexia. It depends.
Or is it just for your field?
I think it's any field. I think it's going to be any field because you're going to be reading a lot of articles and research and stuff like that. So for me, thankfully, I did my BC ABA certification in 2017 and pretty much I repeated everything that I had already did. So it was easier for me because I had the knowledge already. So I was just kind of having to go through the steps to get to the end. But yeah. So what's been up with you? How have you been this last year and a half?
Well, child. No, things have been okay. I know we did an episode on grief and everything, and I lost my mom. Well, 2021 December, I lost my grandfather, which is my mom's dad. So I think I'm just dealing with grief all over again, but I think I know how to deal with it now because I dealt with it in a way that I wasn't educated on with my mom. So now I'm just, you know, navigating through, continuing on with life, doing things to inspire myself through my family, through the ones who have passed and went on to glory and everything. But I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Still working, still just trying to gather what my purpose is, and you know, doing some soul searching, doing some quiet time.
So that, I think, like, that kind of leads us into, you know, what I wanted to talk about today, which I recently, like, I've been listening to a lot of books and stuff because I prefer listening to books, you prefer reading books. But I've just got done listening to Michelle Williams' book, Checking In. Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child, not the other Michelle Williams. She mentioned in the book, like, let's make sure y'all know who we're talking about here. So the book is entitled Checking In, and it's just about when we're dealing with things, we have to learn to check in with ourselves, with friends and family members, and then checking in with God. And for me personally, couple of years ago, I think I wasn't really able to check in with myself because I didn't know what that looked like. Back now, I can say I get it now. If she would have written this book 10 years ago and I would have been told to read the book, I wouldn't have got it because I wasn't in the place to receive that message.
Right.
So when it comes to like checking in with yourself, what does that mean for you? How do you check in with yourself?
How I seclude myself. I don't want any phone calls. I don't want any company. I want to, not so much silence, but I just need that time for myself to, lately, I've been cleaning up my house from top to bottom.
I got upstairs. If you
So, I mean, I was very, on it. I went and got a Swiffer. I went and got the Swiffer thing that you...
The duster thing?
The duster. And so, lately, that has been so much peace to me, just cleaning up everything. At one point, going out was exciting and things like that, but... Child, my checking in with me is checking in my house.
And for me, I think a couple of years ago, or I'll say even in the last couple of months, there are times where certain things would just be in disarray in my life. And I couldn't understand why I didn't have the energy to get up and clean up or to get up and take a shower and do those simple things. And I understand now that that's how you check in with yourself, being able to identify those things. And I remember I was having a conversation with some people. I'm in this business group here in Houston, and we were talking about mental health and life coaching and stuff like that, because I recently did the mental health forum in Atlanta. We're doing another one in Phoenix in July. Just plug, more information to come. But one of the ladies that we was at the meeting, when she asked me, how do you know when it's time to go to therapy or to seek a life coach? And I think when you're able to sit down and check in with yourself and say, okay, normally my house is clean, but the last couple of months, my house has been a mess. This is not like me. If I'm normally on time for work, I got all my things in order, all my business is lined up. But the last couple of weeks, I've been turning in things late. I haven't been able to eat much, or either I like cooking, but I'd rather eat fast food all the time. Those are signs that you need to check in with yourself, because something may not be right. And I like right now, it's so crazy, just having this conversation. It's like everything that's been in my mind. So I may be talking a lot, but it's like everything that's on my mind. Like I've been waiting to do these no filters in my A Little Too Honest podcast. So it's like there's days where I'm like, everything that I have going on in my life, and it's just overwhelming, like with school and things like that. And it's like financially, it's been a struggle, because it's like just going to school and working, and it gets to be a lot. And like at some point, you kind of like, I can't do all this. But there are some days where I'm like, I'm good. But then I have to ask myself, like, how are you good? Like your bills, my bills are paid. But I ain't got no money left after my bills are paid. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go out and do things, but I'm like, I'm not upset. I'm not stressed. Because I'm not sad about it. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, I mean, the main goals are to, of course, pay your bills and everything. So when you know that you can do that, and if it's just fine that I'll sit in the house, I'll get something out the refrigerator and cook, I don't have to DoorDash anything. Look, as long as my responsibilities are good, I'm good.
And it's crazy because years ago, in that situation, I couldn't get out of bed. Like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't function because I'm so worried about it. There were times where, like right now, like I'm doing well in life. Like you say, like how you said it, the epitome of pushing forward. How you said it? Rewind and listen to what she said at the beginning of the video. But there's times where I'm like, I've accomplished this, and this, but it's like I've gotten too far to struggle. I've gotten too far to let things fall by the wayside. But then I'm also like, okay, a part of me, the financial struggles came because I had to focus on school and getting through these last 2 semesters in the middle of a pandemic. So it's like work hours were cut because people got COVID, people got sick. So I'm like, okay, I can't just say I'm gonna work if I don't have the clients to go see. And so I'm like, I had to remind myself that you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't mess up at all. While you're struggling in the season of struggle, you're actually doing something to propel yourself forward. And that's what I had to constantly keep reminding myself. And so like now there's days where I'm tired, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I'm good.
But I'm good.
And I think when we deal with depression, a lot of times we think that we're supposed to feel this way all the time. And when we don't feel that way, we're like, something's wrong. Like I'm used to being, like we're so used to being in that dark space. Once you see light, it's like, oh no, I don't want this light. Let me go back into my dark space.
Right. And we're so used to, I think as human beings, we're so used to always having noise around us, having things around us, to where when it's quiet, when everything is taken care of and it's quiet where you're just sitting and nothing's happening, it's like, this isn't right. But I think you use that opportunity in those quiet times to be like, okay, I'm good. Like God or whatever your higher being is providing for me. I have no stress. Yeah, it may be some little things going on, but at the end of the day, you have to keep reminding yourself, it's nothing that I can't handle.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot of times with depression where people mess up because they stay in that for so long. I'm a testimony to staying in that. And
it's a comfort zone.
Yeah.
So even though it's not a good comfort zone, it's what you're used to, is what you know. And I think we tie that to like people being in an abusive relationship. It's like it's unhealthy for you, but if that's all you know.
Yeah.
And it's like anything outside of like, you can't. It takes a while to get used to something new and something different. And when sometimes we don't. And, oh Jesus, I speak to myself about. Okay, there's times where we don't think that we deserve better. And if we constantly telling ourselves what I have is what I deserve, that's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to get.
But how do we know that we don't deserve better? How do people feel that they don't deserve better? Because
like if you've never had better, if like let's say in families and things, like people growing up, kids see their parents having a dysfunctional relationship, so they grow up to have a dysfunctional relationship because they like, oh, that's what love is. Like I love my mom, but my dad beat my mom, but my mom stayed, so I guess that's what love looks like. Until you actually get better and see other relationships. And I think that that's something that it's hard for a lot of people to do, to get out of that dark space because they don't know anything else. But you listen to gospel? So have you ever heard of Brian Courtney Wilson? So he has a song called Noise. Don't
know that song.
So basically it's in the song he says, now that the noise is gone, I can hear you clearly now. And I think when God does that, when we're in the midst of a storm, we have to learn to tune out the noise. And I think right now I've learned to tune out my noise. Yes. Because there's, like I said, there's so much, like financially, just the biggest thing is just financially, where I'm like, I know my bills will be paid. Like either one way or the other. If y'all see me on the corner, don't judge me, I'm paying my bills. But it's like, I know that the bills are going to be paid. So it's like, I don't need to listen to that noise. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The naysayers.
Yes, I don't need to listen to any of that. And it makes me feel, it's weird because there's days I wake up and I'm like, I should be upset about something. I should be mad. I should be hurt. I should be angry.
But you know what that is?
Peace. Growth. Yes. Growth and peace, child. Woo. When you find that place of growth and peace, it is a beautiful thing.
Well, tell the people how they can move to peace and move to growth. Is it reading that book that can give them a little eye opener, or what? And I guess it does go person to person, but what are some of those things that you can do to kind of start going to the peace realm of things?
I think that it's so much to kind of tackle all at one time. So I think the beginning for me, and we talked about it on the show several times, when I was going to therapy.
Therapy?
So I guess we did film in 21. Because I was going to therapy the beginning of last year. So it had to be.
So we must have stopped right around February of 21.
Okay. So yeah, I had to look back and see the actual date. I'm like, I remember because I talked about my therapy session in the video several times. But one of the things my therapist was telling me is like, dealing with depression, we have thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And when we feel a certain way, we start to think a certain way. Or if we think in a certain way, then our thoughts kind of lead our feelings and our behaviors. And when we thinking and feeling, we act a certain way. So when we have these, like we have cup, candle, cup, just imagine these are the behaviors, thoughts, feelings. I'm not going to remember which one I said, but just know that it's 3 of them. And they just kind of intertwine. They can go from this one to 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 this one, whatever it may be. But we have to learn to say, okay, right now in this moment, I'm going to stop this. And this is let's say my behavior. How can I intervene on my behavior?
Okay.
I may be thinking and I may be feeling a certain way, but right now with this behavior, what can I do to change my behavior? And as soon as I change my behavior, my feelings will start to change. My thoughts will start to change.
And that's just identifying.
Yes.
Some people love to stay in that funk or that rut. But you have to start identifying what these negative behaviors are. Because I'm a true believer, you are what you think. So that's one of the things that I had to start changing my mindset. Because if something was to happen, the first thing I would do is think negative, And
well, I want to challenge you for a second. Okay. Let's change our wording. So let's not say negative.
Okay.
So because a lot of times for me, when I would think of certain things and I'll say like, if I say negative, I put certain things in that category of negative. If me laying in bed for 2 days and watching TV and eating snacks, that's not negative, but it's also not a healthy behavior
it's
or a
not
healthy thought
to your well-being.
So when we say that, like we look like, when we say negative behaviors, we think that the extreme of negative. I'm not doing drugs and I'm not drinking every day and I'm not on the corner and stuff like that. But it's like doing those behaviors are almost just as bad as sitting in bed all day and not doing anything.
Right.
So like, I wouldn't say it's negative. It's just like not conducive or is inconducive a word?
No.
It's not?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Producers, we're not there yet. We y'all know what we're talking. Y'all know what I mean. If the behavior is not conducive for your mental health and your overall health, then maybe that's something where you need to say, okay, I need to intervene on this behavior. But I also, I use it as the hotel analogy, where when we go to a hotel, most of the times people live out of their suitcases while they're in a hotel. Maybe every now and then you may hang a little something up, but for the most part, everything just stays in your suitcase.
I know some people take everything out.
See, now they fancy. They too fancy for me. I got that.
So pull out from my suitcase.
But that's the thing. When we go on vacation, we may take some stuff and put it on the dresser, but it's not. We're not taking it and putting it in drawers, hanging it up, and making sure everything all nice and neat while we're there. And I think when we're dealing with depression, we have to look at it the same way. I had to learn that I need those down days. I need a day or 2, a day or 3 where I don't want to do anything, where I don't want to be bothered with people. And I accepted that. Once I learned to accept that, it was easier for me to get up after that second or that third day and say, okay, I'm not unpacking. I'm on a little depression vacation, but all my stuff gonna stay in this suitcase. Right. And then when it's time for me to get up and go, all I gotta do is close this bag and go on with my life. But it's, for some people, they start to unpack their suitcase because they think, oh, it'll never get better. This is all I know. I've been dealing with this for however many years, so this is where I am and this is where I'm going to stay. Shop. So it's like we have to get past that. So like, going back to your question, I think understanding when things are not going the way that they should be going or how they should be going, that's when we need to be able to say, I need to make a change. And it's up to us to want to make a change. And I was talking to a client of mine with my life coaching, and we were talking about creating goals and a vision for yourself. Sometimes we create a vision that's so big and it's too far away. and the reinforcement is not tangible enough to keep us going those small steps that it's going to take to get to that bigger goal.
Right.
So what we have to learn to do is create something small. So
something obtainable.
Yes. So there was one day this week I was like, I don't feel like being bothered, but I was like, you know what? I need to get up, I need to shave, and I need to iron my clothes. And I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was ironing while I was talking to her, and she was like, "Oh, you iron to go to work?" And I said, "Yeah, I got my ankles presentable. Like I need to make sure I'm presentable." But it's like those small little things like that make a big difference.
It sets the tone.
Yes, it does.
It sets the tone, and that was one of the things that I started doing is getting up earlier, not getting out. If I had to be somewhere at 9 o'clock to see a family, not getting up at 8 o'clock and rushing to get myself together to be out the house at 8:15 because 9 times out of 10 they live on the other side of town. I've learned to set an hour before. Get up at 7, have my coffee, have my tea or something, do some journaling. So that's my morning. That was something that was a game changer for me to just get that motivation of, okay, it's a new day, let's tackle it. That was that positive thinking for me to get out of those ruts and just being down, feeling like I'm just helpless and can't do anything. That was one of the things that I did. So if you have to set one goal in the morning just to get yourself up and get yourself in a moving, mood and do it.
But that's exactly what I was just about to say. When I was talking to one of my clients, and I was like, we have to create a foundation. When you build a house, they start by digging up the dirt and leveling it off, and then they put the foundation down, and then they build up the walls, and they build the outside, the inside, and all that. So when we're making those small changes, like being able to get up early, eating your breakfast, drink your coffee, journaling, like you're creating a foundation. But those things, they start to stack on top of each other. So like if for somebody that's out there that's trying to get to that place where they can do that, if getting up early is the first thing you can do that for a week. You don't need to add nothing else. Just be able to get up early and say, okay, I'm getting up 30 minutes early every single day. I'm not going to do anything when I get up. I'm just getting up. Right. But as you start to say, okay, I accomplished this small goal. Now I'm going to add something else for this next week or two. Now I'm going to do my journal for 15 minutes after I get up. Do that until okay, I've done this and I'm good. Now I've built that foundation.
Let me tell you what helped me with discipline.
What's that?
So my grandfather passed away December 31st. When he died, I was my heaviest weight. I'm not going to tell. But I was heavy. But nevertheless, when he died, I was like, okay, something has to change. If you can become disciplined in what you eat, you can be disciplined in a lot of majority of things. And so the month of January, I started intermittent fasting. I stayed on my intermittent fasting. And after January, I was like, wow, like I can do it. Like I can be disciplined in this. And it moved to things at work, being more organized. It moved to checking my emails more, and answering my, just taking time to, this is what I need to do, and I gotta do it, and sticking to that. Like that was the main thing that kind of moved me into being more disciplined.
And see, like with my life coaching business, it's behavioral coaching solutions. If you're interested in receiving life coaching, hit me up. I'll put my information in the information box, wherever it's called down there. When we create those small little goals like that, it starts to show us I can do something that I thought I couldn't do before. And we have to learn not to look at if I'm dieting or something. Don't say I'm going to diet to lose weight. Like just diet because you want to create a routine.
Healthy
you want to be disciplined.
habits.
You want to be a new habit. And from those things, then you'll start to see results down the line. And one of the terms that we talk about in ABA and with life coaching is called generalization. So what generalization is basically I'm going to learn a new skill. But after I learn this new skill, how can I apply what I've learned to different areas, to different people, to different parts of my life, whether that be in relationships, in work, at my in friendships, in business interactions, whatever it is. You learn that one skill and then you generalize it to other things. So like what you just said is that, you know, just with intermittent fasting, you were able to apply that same concept to other parts of your life. And I think that that's another thing that's important when we're trying to get to a different place in our life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it may be.
And the wording, like you said, that and that was because I failed in the past with, I'm dieting. My mindset at the beginning of the year was I have to be healthier. Because even at the weight that I was at, you know, I still claim to be healthy, but because I wasn't going to the doctor for issues and everything, but still my mindset was healthier eating, you know, eliminating and healthier eating just because we're black and it's such a stigma on black people and, you know, just health. I don't want to be a stigma. So I took those goals and all of that to just change. It's not dieting. You're just eating healthier.
And I think with some people, you know, I've talked to my mom about it before, but I'm like, with eating healthy, that can mean if you go out 3 times a week or 4 times a week and you eating fast food, if you say, you know what, this week I'm only going to eat out 2 days a week and then I'm going to cook the other 2 days. Like those small changes make a difference.
Don't deny yourself of, you know, because that's where you're failing.
Yes.
Don't
that's
deny.
Dieting does not work. You get to that point, but let's say you go a week, you're like, oh, I've been eating crackers, and one of my friends they make fun of me because when I was in the military, I'd be like, I'm dieting, I'm only eating crackers and stuff. But she's like, oh, you better eat something more than crackers. But I think like you do it so many days in a row, you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm great. Then you hit that wall, and then you go binge, and that's what you don't want to do. But yeah, so like going to like, you know, we talked about checking in with ourselves and you know how important that is. So when it comes to the next one is like checking in with family and friends. So in the book by Michelle Williams, Checking In, maybe she'll see this and send us some coins for promoting the book.
Right.
I'll send my PO box. After all of the darkness and sadness, soon comes happiness. But in the book, like she talks about, she said it was being transparent and being vulnerable. So a lot of times, and when she said it, I kind of was like, I think I've been more transparent versus being vulnerable. Because I have no problem sharing, like we've done it on here several times, done it on the podcast. I wrote a web series about loosely about my life. I don't want people to watch it and be like, you did this? But and did the stage play about some of my experiences in the military and things. And so it's like I have no problem talking about it. But then I have that issue with being vulnerable. And that's something that I'm aware of because even when it comes to with doing the little TT app, I'd rather be a character because I feel like if and it's not that I have nothing to hide, but it's just there are some days where when it comes to like doing a video, I typically whenever an idea pops in my head, I'll get up and I'll film a video if I'm not doing anything. And there are some days where I'm tired, and I'm not depressed, but just like in a funk a little bit. But as soon as I have an idea, I'm like, okay, let me go do this video because it motivates me. But then I go back into my little dark place. But it's like the people that are watching the videos, all they see is Orange and they see Keisha and it's like that makes them laugh. So they're not thinking, oh, he just did this video, but he's depressed as hell right now. He's sad.
They would never know.
He's been laying in his bed for the last 3 days, you know? And it's hard for me to be transparent. Like right now, with these videos, like we can film this and put it on there, and I don't have to interact with anybody about it. But I'm learning now that in order to be vulnerable, that's something that I have to learn to do and be comfortable with in order to have the impact that I want to have. So with checking in with family and friends, I realized that I've been more transparent versus vulnerable. Okay. Do you feel that you have like friends and family members that you can check in with, that you know, that you can be vulnerable with also?
Yes. My best friend, I think that is the...
Which is that the one with the name starts with T? Okay.
I
almost said wrong best friend name.
I think we have grown to a place where she knows literally almost everything about me. And she knows that I can be stubborn and I don't always express my feelings because I just go in to the house and, you know, want to navigate through them myself. Yeah. But she's the one like, something's wrong. And I think that has always been needed so that I can feel comfortable in knowing that I'm expressing this to you. I'm being completely vulnerable with you, and you're not gonna judge me. You're not going to. You're gonna be right there in that moment with me. And so yes, I have my best friend. I have my partner. I have.
I'm sorry. What?
You know, I have family. So you know.
We just threw that out there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay. Okay. Let's just threw that out there. Keep on going. Like, all right. Okay.
So yeah, but you're more open with your family now, and is it just your mom or you know?
Honestly, I think I just had the revelation.
Okay.
Within the last couple of days reading this book.
Okay. Okay. How long have you been reading the book?
Like 3 days.
3 days, okay. How far are you?
I'm almost done with it. Well, it's the audio. It's the audio book.
Okay.
But so you know, like I said, I've always been open with them because I think the first time I felt really comfortable was I think I mentioned before on the.
No. I thought your dog was like.
The first time I felt somewhat comfortable like having that conversation with family members. I think I mentioned it on the show before. I had one of my cousins. Her mom lived maybe less than 15 minutes away from me, and she was living in an apartment not that far. But we would always like go to the mom's house and hang out. And so one day she texted me, and I hadn't been over there in a while, and she was like, "I guess you're in one of your moods." She was like, "But whenever you're feeling better, we're here." And that was the first time I started to feel. Okay, being transparent because I'm like, okay, maybe they do understand, or at least she understands. Because before, in that moment, I used to think that, you know, if I wasn't talking to people, wasn't doing things, wasn't going to parties and stuff like that, people thought I was stuck up, or I didn't want to be bothered. But I'm like, I was depressed, you know what I'm saying?
Something.
And so that was the first time I felt, okay, let me be transparent and talk about it a little bit more. But I think when it comes to the vulnerable side of it, there's still, I'm transparent, but when I'm transparent, I'm always together. Like I haven't, no one has seen other than like Emmanuel has seen that depressed state. Like, cause you know, I keep to myself for the most part. So it's like, they haven't been in the house when the house is a complete mess. Where it's been 3 days since I've showered and I haven't shaved in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So like when I try to present myself to be transparent, I try to make sure I'm presentable as possible.
But is that a stigma on the Black community to still dress up your depression, still dress up your hurt, your grief?
All that.
Because we still, as depressed or as down as we are, we still manage to be like, okay, let me not look what I'm going through.
Yes.
And I think that's just, I don't know, I have a bad habit of doing that because I have older parents, I have older family, and they always used to tell me, you go out and you look your best. You know, you go out and you just have yourself together. You don't want anyone to see you looking out of place. You walk in confidence. You walk knowing that you are worthy of. They just instilled in me, don't go out looking busted. Pretty much. Don't go out there looking busted. You are reflecting us as a family. So I think we need to change that.
So the thing that we need to change is, instead of telling people don't go out looking a mess, teach them, how do we fix the mess? Because you are a mess. You a mess. Right now you look a mess and you are a mess. They're just saying don't go out looking a mess. You can go out and be a mess, but as long as you don't look a mess. How about we say, let's fix this mess? How do we clean up this mess? How do we get to a better space so that when you go out, you don't have to worry about not going out looking a mess because you're in a good space to where you're not looking a mess at all. You're already good. And I think that's something that in our community we don't do. We're worried about how people perceive us, what people think of us.
Yes.
So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I have family members that that receive me and they understand, you know, my experiences. I think I put on Facebook the other day and I was like, you know, I'm thankful for friends and family members who supported me even when I didn't believe in myself. And like, even with getting my master's, there were so many people that, oh, you can do it. And I was like, well, if you say I can do it, then I can do it. It was like, now that I'm done, I'm like, okay, I believe you now. I believe it now. But like before, like, you were just talking harsh dookie. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't know I could do it. But I think that there's people that understand and like they've seen the transparent side of me. But the vulnerable side is like, I want people to see that more. And so it's like even now being able to sit here and have this conversation and say, yes, there are days where like my house is a mess. There are days where like I don't shave, I don't shower, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything. And being able to just even say it is like,
For the people out there, kind of give them, because they're listening, they're taking this all in. They're like, dang, I've been in a funk, but look at them. You know, they climbing out of it. So for the people out there, kind of tell them, if you guys have been confused with being transparent and being vulnerable, what are the two? Because they can align. You know, what are
they should align?
What are the differences? Because some people can say, well, I'm being completely vulnerable with my family and my friends and myself, but maybe they're just being transparent.
Okay, so, you know, the mental health forum that we did in Atlanta, the topic was disclosure.
Okay.
And while preparing for, actually, I don't know, you know Tawana, she was in the play Chantel. So I had a very vulnerable moment with Tawana like the week before going to Atlanta. Okay. We were talking on the phone and I broke down crying because I was like talking about everything that I was feeling in that moment. And
I want to look at you. I just want to look at you.
I was talking about everything that I was feeling in that moment, and like, you know, at that point it was like early, like maybe January, early February, and like financially that was like the hardest time because I was like, I was at that point where it's like I even got a second job as a waiter, working at a bar and grill. Okay. So like so I was doing my job, going to school, plus working part-time as a waiter. And so a part of me felt shame. I'm like, you know, like I've worked too hard to have to do this, and like, why am I in this space right now? And so when I was talking to Tawana on the phone, it kind of just all bottled up inside of me, and I just kind of started crying because I'm like, I'm stressed. And she was like, Well, you got to think about everything that you've accomplished. Like one little setback does not take away from everything else that you had done. And I think if I hadn't been transparent and vulnerable at that time, like transparency is just being able to talk about it. The vulnerability is being able to show it. That's
there
it.
You go.
That's it.
There
Transparency is being able to talk about it.
Yes.
Vulnerability is being able to show it.
Yes.
And a lot of times we don't want to show the brokenness.
There you go.
We wait till we kind of like, let's say, you know, scale of 1 to 10, of 10 being you at your best. When we at a 1, we don't want people to see us at our 1. But when we get to 3 or 4, we like I'm barely holding myself up, but I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
don't
that's the best way to do it. Yes, but it's once you're able to show it. That's how we help people, because a lot of times we can sit here all day long and say, "Oh, look what I've done! Like I've gotten past this." But it's like with the weight loss programs and stuff like that. It annoys me when there's this. I've lost 55 pounds on such and such.
They lie.
It's like, show me the picture where you were 55 pounds bigger or 100 pounds bigger. But it's like we don't want to show the struggle. We don't want to show the bad, the ugly, the good, bad, and the ugly. We only want to show the results.
Right. And that's I think social media has played a part into that, in just putting the good times, but not showing the struggle.
Yes.
We want the praise because we want people to feel good. You know, we want people to praise us for our accomplishments and everything, but we don't want to put down in the church's post. You know, but I think it's necessary so that you can show that balance. It's a balance to everything.
Because I think, you know, it's good for us to be able to say, look what I've accomplished and look how great I look. But if we're not showing that other side, it's kind of almost like, you know, how did you get to this space? How did you get to this place where you can say that you are good and you're better? Without the and another thing I've learned to do is appreciating the journey, because like when you're along this journey in your life, a lot of times like we try to rush to get to the finish line, and while rushing we kind of overlook some of those milestone moments that could have been like something that we'll remember for the rest of our life.
And it's the biggest accomplishments in the little milestones. The big ones are great, yes, because you can see it.
Yeah.
But those little ones, like when I reached my first 10 pounds, I was so excited, even though my goal is bigger. But that 10, ooh, I was like, let's go get some cake.
Yes.
I want to celebrate. So
like, I'm gonna work it off, but I gotta get this piece of cake right here.
So yes, I agree with that. Celebrating those little ones. Because I think those are the ones that mean the most.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree. I definitely agree. And with, like, for me, I want to learn to be more vulnerable. And for me, a part of that has been posting more videos talking about depression on just mental health as in general on TikTok and stuff like that. Because before, like, it was something I didn't want to do, but I want to use my platform to speak about it and learn to be more vulnerable. So like the last checking in thing is checking in with God. So I made a video the other day and I was talking about, like, I referenced like MapQuest and how learning when we're creating dreams and visions and goals for ourselves, looking at it in the sense of a destination that we'll put into MapQuest. So when we put something in MapQuest will say, this is the fastest route. Okay. And sometimes, like, you know, in Houston, I'm getting told, well, the map, let's say Maps, whatever it's called, like the Maps app on iPhone. I don't know what Google has.
Because some of these people don't know that.
So like just the GPS, whatever GPS system you're using. So when we put it in, it'll tell us this is the fastest route. If we in Houston or somewhere with tolls, it'll say this route has tolls or there's an accident on this route. So us as humans, when we want to reach a goal, we want to go the fastest route. So we automatically gonna play, oh, this one say 30 minutes, let me pick this one that's 30 minutes. I got to be there at 5:30. It says it's gonna take me 30 minutes to get there. I'm leaving at 5 o'clock. So when we're along that route and there's an obstacle comes in the way and it slows down, we get frustrated.
Yes.
You're like, God damn it, you said it's gonna take me 30 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Why is it taking me 30 minutes? Now I got to wait because it's traffic.
My sentiments on the road all the time.
But one of the things that I said in the video that kind of like struck a chord with me was when we understand the assignment from God, we don't get frustrated when there's obstacles in the road.
That's good.
Because we understand that He put us on this path. And there's a reason why He put us on this path. And so if there's something going on, there may be something ahead that He's protecting us from. There may be something that we just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yes.
And we just got to stay on this route until it's clear. But then also, we get frustrated when we start on the route and then we have to take a detour. And so like when God takes you on that detour, if you understand the assignment, He's saying, okay, I have something else I need you to take care of first. There's another route that you need to go on. But understanding, like when we put out, MapQuest can tell you 5 different ways to get to one spot.
Right.
So it might take a little bit longer, and that's okay. And so, like, tying that into how we look at our dreams and the goals that we set for ourselves, it's okay to start out on a path and have to change that path. It's okay to start out on a path and have a certain time frame that you want to reach it in. But it's okay to say, you know what, instead of taking me 2 years to do this goal, it's going to take me 3 years to do this goal. But when you take that detour, like, have you ever been driving in a car, like riding with someone else down the road that you've driven yourself several times before? And while you're on that road, you start to say, well, dang, where did that sign come from? Where did that store come from? Like, that store but it's like, it's been there.
Right.
We just don't always pay attention until God tells us, slow down and now pay attention. And so I think it's important for us, when we're doing things in our life, to be able to take those scenic routes, be able to slow down just a little bit to take in your scenery, to take in the environment, because there may be something along this new path that God wants you to see.
Yes.
He puts you in certain places at certain times with certain people to experience certain things. And we have to be willing to pay attention to those things.
And you know how you can do that?
How?
By putting it in God's hands.
Yes.
And taking your hands off of it. That's how you get peace.
Yeah.
Come on now. That's how you get peace in knowing that you will make it to your destination.
Yeah.
We try to manipulate it with our own self all the time. And we mess it up all the time. It's not until you start to say, you know what? I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing. God, you lead. Because ultimately, He's the one who knows your will. We don't know it. So when you are able to just put it in God's hands, wherever and tell the Lord, wherever you lead, I shall follow. That's when the blessings start coming down.
Yeah.
Things that you did not know that you needed in your life, that's when they present themselves.
And I think we're getting a little spiritual now,
we
but
are.
like a lot of times like we don't question God. Sometimes we should question God, and that's the thing. We should question God, because sometimes when something is put in front of us, church folk have this mindset of, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, God, I praise you for what you've given me. But like God sit back and be like, no, bro, I didn't send that. You went out looking for that. You found what you were looking for. Don't praise me for something that I didn't do. But it's like when God does put something in front of us, that's when we like, no, I don't know about this, God. You telling me to do this, like, for instance, God, you telling me I need to get through these last two semesters of grad school, but God, I need to pay my bills. Like my bills ain't gonna be paid. Like I need to work. I got to do this. I'm stressed.
What he tell you?
I got you. He said I got you. Like this is how crazy it is. This is how crazy it is. My angel numbers. You have angel numbers? So mine is 444. Okay. When I tell you in the last year, this number has been popping up every single place I go. So, you know, when I talk about going down this route, so I was working, I had been working in Baytown with clients, and there was this one road that I had driven several times when I was going to different clients and things. So one day I was with a different client, and we went to the grocery store. And so the caregiver was driving, and I was sitting in the back seat. And we got to a stop sign, and there was this residency place, whatever, to my right. I had passed by the place at least 100 times. I looked at the sign, and the address was like 444 something. And I was like, I've never paid attention to it before. But it's like in that moment, God paused me right there at that spot because he needed to remind me, I got you. And so that's something that over the last, I'll say year or so, like I've always seen the number, like that's been my number for a long time, but I've been seeing it more now. And then I had to remind myself also, if I'm not seeing the number, it doesn't mean that he isn't watching over me. It's just in that moment he knows that I need it. Yes. And so it's like there's times where I'm like, I'm struggling. I'm like, God, like I don't know what's going on, but then I hear that voice. He's like, you already know I got you. He's like, it's already done. It's already done. You've seen it done before. Yes. So trust and believe that it's already done.
Come on now.
So, and I think, you know, when we checking in, for me, checking in with God is just being able to say thank you. Being able to ask those questions like, okay, am I making the right decision? And being able to listen to what he's telling me, because when God speaks, he speaks loudly. At least from my experience. And, you know, we get to the point where, you know, we question it, but we also feel like, okay, well, God, I know you're telling me to do this, but this the reinforcement component of this right here is quicker, this is faster, so let me go this way, God. Like you gonna come with me, God, right? But he's like, no, I'm telling you to go right here. But then, you know, we make that, and when we take a detour on our own, we kind of end up back at
God,
the same
I need you. I'm sorry.
You're like, you know, I should have stayed on this road. I should have stayed on this road.
I think that's human nature, you know. But I agree, and I think being connected and checking in with God, that's like my first thing that I do. I am nothing without God. I have needed God in my most toughest times, and of course, yes, I've questioned God, but I'm getting back to that, on that path of he's God. He doesn't need any authority to do what he wants to do. He's gonna do whatever he wants to do, and so I might as well just put my trust in it. You know, definitely. So
I think, you know, when we try to step outside of what God wants us to do, he gonna make sure that we understand that we're going the wrong way. And like when we struggling with things, like don't just be like, oh, you know, this, I'm just having a bad week, I'm having this, and the other. But in the back of your mind, you know, God told you to do something else. So but like this, I enjoyed this conversation. This was a good one for our welcome back season 2 of No Filter. So, you know, before we wrap it up, where can, you know, give them us your social media and what you're doing?
Well,
coming up next.
I mean, if you're in the Houston area, June 25th, your girl's gonna be in a stage play called Covered in the Blood. No, Covered by the Blood. I'm covered in the blood too, but
covered in the juice.
He turned it. But no, Covered by the Blood is going to be in Sugarland, and so you can find me on Facebook, Mathea Harris. You can find me on Instagram, _living+_. And nice. So for me, y'all can find me on Instagram, Facebook, the TT app, YouTube, Bobby Jarel or the Bobby Jarel. What I have going on right now, just trying to breathe. Working on my my life coaching business, behavioral coaching solutions. Also working on some scripts, and you know, I'm gonna say it here in front of the camera. My goal is to have my next stage play written by the end of June. That's my goal, and it's one of those things where, like, saying it out loud and
having people hold me accountable for it, you know, because like it's frustrating when I get people be like, well, when's your next show? When's your next show? And I'm like, so many people keep asking me this. And I'm like I'm gonna do it. School has been hard, so you know, now that I'm done, that's something I want to do.
Yes. And you gotta hold yourself accountable to that, because that has always been the thing. School is this, school is that, and
I feel like you judging me.
So now
No Filter has been canceled.
School is done. You about to see some. I mean, I feel like you're about to, everything that is waiting for you is there.
Yeah.
You're about to walk into it. So
thank you.
School is done.
I'm ready for it. And also, like I said, we have the next no filters. The next Catch 22 Mental Health Forum will be in Phoenix, Arizona on July 30th. More information to come, hopefully within the next week or two. So I have all of the finalized information for that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yay.
And you know, we'll be doing no filter videos. Hopefully, like, what's your vision for no filter and what you want to do?
My vision is conversations like this. I don't feel like are being had in the home amongst friends, and maybe amongst friends, but the conversations need to be out there from people who just, at the end of the day, we are going through day-to-day things, and I just want No Filter to just be a support to people, to be a eye-opener for people. Like, dang, you know, something in her story or something in his story resonated with me. I've been down for so long. Let me try what they're saying. You know, I just want, at the end of the day, I just want us as Black people to just have those conversations, support one another. Just support one another, and I want to be a support to my Black women, my Black children. I want No Filter to just reach the masses.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for me, it's the same. I want this to spark a bunch of conversations. I want people to take things that we talked about on, especially this episode. This was like really good. But take some of these things and go into your own relationships with friends, family members, significant others, and talk about things. Learn to be transparent, but also be vulnerable and being willing to show that brokenness. Because if we don't show what's broken, we can't heal what's broken.
Right.
And like one of my main hashtags right now is #season of healing. Like, we need to make this season a season of healing. Yes. And the way to do that is being able to have these types of conversations with yourself. Check in with yourself. Friends, God, do those things.
Family.
Yeah.
Repair those families.
Yeah.
Repair your relationship with God. Repair those friendships. Life is short.
Yes.
Repair your brokenness. It's short.
Yes. So, without further ado, that's episode 1 of season 2 for No Filter. I am Bobby Jarel.
I'm Mathea.
And we are out.